Hi guys, it's crazy power outage day here at STEM, and I'm in the auditorium, or well, you guys are out there, so I'm stepping back real quick to record the on this day for this week. Now, these are two events that we're going to cover a lot in this unit and the following unit, so this will give you a good taste of them. So once again, I'm going to do 2 days, one for Thursday's class, one for Friday's class, but I'll give you the option to pick which one you want to do, and if for any reason you've been absent and missed one, then make sure you do both to make up for the day you were absent. So today's first event is December 15th, 1791. That is when the Bill of Rights becomes law. So what we're going to learn is that once the Constitution was ratified, it did not have a Bill of Rights. Those are amendments that were later added. And a lot of people, namely ones that were called anti-federalists, opposed the Constitution because it lacked a Bill of Rights. So we're going to talk about that a bit. Why was the Bill of Rights important? Why did some think it was not important? But anyway, Madison pretty much made a deal at the Constitutional Convention saying, listen, let's just ratify this Constitution, and I promise once Congress meets, the first thing we're going to do is work on getting this Bill of Rights passed. And that was at the end of 1789. So on October 2nd, 1789, the amendments go out to the states. Now, actually, there's 12 amendments there. The House proposed 17 amendments. The Senate uh, condensed it to 12 amendments, but only 10 got made it through. The very first state, by the way, to ratify the Bill of Rights was New Jersey, and that was on November 20th of 1789. So Virginia became the 10th of 14 states because of now Vermont was also a state. And actually, Vermont joined the Union in March of 91 and ratified it later that November, I believe. Don't leave the auditorium unless you're being called, people. I'll tell you what, when I drove into school late, the line of parents down the road was crazy picking you up. I had to go around them all. Let's see. So this gives you some basic information on that. So next we're going to spend just a minute on one of my favorite events to talk about. And I have so many stories to share with you. But the anniversary of the Boston Tea Party. All right, I'm already making plans to how I'm going to celebrate this day when I'm in the hospital on Friday. So this was at Griffin's Wharf, which was in Boston, Massachusetts. And there's a lot of backstory to this, right? There's a lot of backstory, which we're going to get into. But basically what happened was that 343 chests of tea were dumped into the sea. The fishes were drinking the tea. Now, normally the colonists drank a lot of tea, about 1.2 million pounds of tea a year. The Tea Act was passed in May 1773. And even with this act, it was cheaper than Dutch tea, but they still didn't like the way they were being taxed at it. There were people that smuggled tea, such as well-known people John Hancock and Sam Adams. What happened here is you have the British ships. There were several in the port. They could not unload the tea. They were not being permitted to. So we'll get into later just what happened. I read a whole book on this just before I went to Boston, November, and it's fascinating. It's a lot more than just protesting and throwing tea in the water. So Governor Hutchinson was unhappy about this. British ships surrounded it. What were they going to do? Well, in the middle of the night, and it wasn't a great night, they dressed up like Mohawk Indians. They went on the ships. They took their hatchets. They moved the tea, cracked open the crates, and threw it in the water, making sure not to destroy any other property on the ship, making sure not to hurt the British who still may have been on the ships. And they all went home about their way and pretty much had tight lips, not confessing, even to their families in some cases, if they were involved. Some families just found out because they saw some remnants of tea that fell into their boots that evening. As a result, the British were not happy about this, and the Coercive Acts were passed, which really came down on the colonies, specifically those around Massachusetts. this was not just an issue about what to do with this British tea in Boston. It was also happening in not the protests, but like turning away the tea in New York, in Philadelphia, in Charleston. And they tried to hold out on this Boston Tea Party. It wasn't until really like that night of when they realized no one was moving. This was their only option at this point. So, like I said, I'll talk more about this when we get to it in this unit. It will be enjoyable. But think whether you did this event or the Bill of Rights, how does this connect to things we've already learned about? Or how does it connect to our STEM values? Persistence, empathy, reflection, or collaboration. And get ready because for January, there's going to be a new element you have to add to On This Day. Yay! All right. This is almost the end of On This Day. I believe you have one more week and then you'll be posting. So just because I'm out, make sure you're still doing it, getting on top of this. All right, guys? Good job, and talk to you soon. Power Outage Day.